Welcome back to the First Canada STEMathon Girls and Allies 2020. So the question of the day, Mahak, is, are you awake yet?
After seeing everyone's hard work last night, obviously I am.
Well, I am awake. I am here. Not sure how much sleep I got. Not sure how much sleep anyone in the audience got, but we're going to try and keep you pumped up, keep you energized, because we still have a lot more stuff to happen today. Wow, what a day we had yesterday. We started off by introducing the theme with a bang, with that amazing video. Thanks to Aiden again for just inspiring us all with that. Accelerate education into the future. And we had some great presentations. We learned about presentation skills, brainstorming skills, and we saw all of that in action yesterday. It was amazing watching the STEMathon Slack light up like a Christmas tree. All the team channels, like I just could not keep everything red. It was just like, it was just beautiful. And everyone's super excited to see the solutions you've been working on. I've taken a peek through the infographic folder and I'm just blown away. Like, Mahak, what are your thoughts?
First of all, shout out to every single team that got their infographics in on time. That was amazing. And plus, looking through all of those, the design skills that every team has, their graphic design and the information on every single infographic looks awesome. I'm really looking forward to the judging period.
Yeah, it was a great merge between form and function. It was really, really cool to see. And I've seen previews of some teams' presentations. I've seen some slide decks, and this is going to be cool. But speaking of the judging, Mahak, how's that going to work this morning?
Just to reiterate whatever has been said on the student handbook, a Zoom link has been posted on Slack where, along with the judging schedule, where it indicates when each team is presenting. We suggest that you arrive around 5 minutes prior to your presenting time, where then you'll be moved into a breakout room from the main Zoom link with your judges, where then you'll have a total of 8 to 9 minutes to present. That's a 30 to 60-second pitch, introduction from your mentors, a 5-minute pitch, and 2 to 3 minutes question period from the judges.
Yeah, so it's going to be really exciting. Remember to be on time as best you can, because that's going to help keep everything on schedule for all the other teams, and it's just the most fair thing to do. The judges are really excited to see everything that you've done. So just really show them the passion, show them the energy, and show them the excitement, and show them how much fun you're doing, and sell them on your product. And it's going to be a really great time. So to open today's show, please welcome to the stage the chair of First Canada Board of Directors, Dorothy Byers.
Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? I'm actually recording this on Friday morning in my living room in Toronto because on the weekend I'm going to be up north where I have a very limited internet access. So sadly, I'm unable to join you on the weekend, but did so much want to be part of your wonderful time. I really wish that we could all be together in person because I know how much social contact means to all of us in our very big first family. But here we are, and we are tenacious, resilient individuals who may have had a meltdown or two over these past long weeks, but we will prevail. You're here because you believe that girls and women must be active participants and contributors in all the STEM worlds. Our allies are key to this globally critical mission. It takes many to challenge the status quo, and that's what we're working on here at STEMathon. Our First Canada mission states that we will inspire young Canadians, and that's you, to be science and technology leaders by engaging you in exciting programs supported by mentors. And through your participation, you're going to build great skills. You're already doing that. Be inspired to innovate and develop the skills of self-confidence, teamwork, communication, and leadership. Lofty words, to be sure, but right now you are living the mission just by participating this weekend. And speaking of this weekend, how are you doing? Does your brain hurt yet? How's your group doing? How about your project? What have you learned? The values of First Canada are diversity, inclusion, equity, and accessibility. And these aren't just words. They're actions. And I know that all of you spend time talking about their meaning. And I know that you did that yesterday. Don't lose sight of these conversations. You'll need to be a part of the action items that will erase the inequities that we see today. And I know that you are just the right people in our world right now. You are the people we all need. So enjoy every minute of your time together. And I can't wait to see the results of your collective thinking. You always inspire and awe. And I can't wait for the day that we can all be together so that we can hear the laughter, the animated discussion, share a meal, and just have a super time learning. It's a challenging time and a thoughtful time to be together. Stay well. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Dorothy, for those inspiring words. Always great to have you as a part of our events, and especially here at STEMathon. So yesterday we did a lot of cool stuff, but I think the piece that I was most impressed with was the discussion of Edie and I with the Youth Council. And they touched on so many important topics, especially in light of everything that's going on in today's world. And, you know, I was scrolling through Twitter this morning and the protests were still going on. And it's great to see people standing up for the rights of others. And that's what we're really believing in first. And that's a lot of what Grace's professionalism is about. But we also want to remind people to stand up for themselves, and not just for your rights in terms of oppression or anything like that, but stand up for your mental health. And it's really important for our students to take care of themselves and make sure that they're doing you're doing everything you can to make sure you're in a good position. So after today, get some rest, catch up on some sleep, and it's okay to always say no. If a mentor or a teacher is pushing you too hard, it's okay to kind of dial things back, because your mental health is foremost before anything else, and along with your physical health. So always keep that in mind. And speaking of some mental health, we got some good stuff today to help kind of everyone relax and get into a good zone, get into a great mood with the judging interviews all going on. So we're going to bring out some of the First Canada staff. Please welcome to the stage the First Canada Programs Coordinator and yoga superstar, Annika Pitt, along with First Canada, superstar right there, First Canada senior mentors, Sherilyn Kashowski and Paul Keenan, to give some insight into some of the programming that we're going to be having live today and what we have in store for you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Karthik.
Good morning, Karthik, Mahak.
So, Annika, I see that you are live from the First Canada Yoga Studio.
Yes.
Tell us what's going on back there.
Look, I'm really excited and honored that some of the participants from the STEMathon are going to be joining me this morning for a yoga practice. This is part of my regular morning routine, and so I'm happy to open up my living room to the rest of the community for anyone that wants to join along.
That is fabulous. Hey, just a reminder to everyone attending the yoga session, please note we do have a disclaimer that we would like you to all read. This will also be available on our Slack channels. So take a look at that disclaimer, just make sure, and here we go. Read all the details, folks, and we just want to make sure that everyone is safe and energized. Annika, is there any prep that our students should be doing in advance of the yoga session?
Yeah, thanks so much for checking, Karthik. If for those of you that may be brave enough to be trying this for your first time, it's a really good time to start because no one can actually see you. So if you're feeling awkward, it's okay. Nobody can tell. If we could see you, it would be okay too, because we're accepting like that. But if you don't have a sticky mat or a yoga mat like the one behind me, you can use a towel or you can just use the floor. And we'll be doing some movements that, in which your feet might slip. So I would say bare feet, just so that they can kind of grip the floor if you don't have a mat or a towel on which to practice. And even still, at some point, your knees might be touching the ground or your head or your hips. And so having something to pad that area would be great, regardless of whether you have a mat or not.
Yeah, this is going to be very exciting. Yoga is going to be starting at 8:30, I believe.
Yeah.
8:30. Use the Zoom links that are in Slack, everyone. This is going to be a good time, just kind of get you refreshed, especially if you've got a later judging session. This is going to be something to get you into the zone. Anna, can you say you do this every morning?
I do, yeah. And I mean, for those of you that have been up no matter whether you've been up all night or whether you just woke up, it's a great way to start the day. And I've been thinking over the past few days leading up to this event that the practice that I do every day, despite it being a much slower pace than a robotics competition or a robotics season, there were a couple of things that I thought were similar in terms of the two activities. So I'll talk a bit more about that during the practice.
That's really, really exciting. And Paul, Swaggy P, you're joining Annika for the yoga, right?
This is what I do every morning.
Oh,
First of all, I try to wake up, but you know, I could do it. I'm pretty bendy.
There we go. That's what we like to see. Annika, we know you have to run to get the studio all set up for everything. So thank you for joining us this morning. And everyone, tune in for the yoga, do some stretching, clear your mind, and it's going to be a great day. Thanks so much for doing this, Annika. We really appreciate it.
See you soon.
And Sherry Lynn, we decided, you know, we want to hear from you now about what you have going on later on. I think at around 11 o'clock, Sherry Lynn?
Yes. Yes.
All right, what's happening at 11?
Good morning, everyone. We're going to be doing a scavenger hunt. So we have a list of 50 items that you guys get to run around your house and look for. It'll get you moving again this morning as well. Just to have some fun and show off some things that you might have stored around your house.
And so what kind of thing, let's do a little bit of a sampling here. I can't leave my studio right now, but give me a couple items that are on the list, Sherry Lynn, and I'll see what I can find.
That you have, gotta think what about deck of cards.
Deck of cards. Hold.
I think you should have them look for a comb too.
Got it.
Probably has lots.
There you go. A stress ball.
Stress ball. I swear I had one. I don't have a stress ball right here. Give me another one, Sherry Lynn.
A team button.
Team buttons not in this room. They're all in the other room.
Yeah, that was mine too earlier.
Give me something really random that I might be able to come up with. There's something that lets me be a little creative.
How about a Lego brick?
Not in this room.
No.
Tidy room.
I have an old film camera. Is that on the list?
I don't remember now if that was on the list or not.
What about whiteout thinner? That's a thing that people use, that used to use. Oh, I've got something. This is on the list. It's got to be on the list. Hold on. We're ready. I got a recorder.
Yes.
There you go. And you can even play it. That's awesome.
Recognize the tune.
Paul, Swaggy, can we have First Canada recorders at events?
No, I think there's rules against that. And maybe a marching band of recorders.
Oh, okay. But I mean, just, you know, oh, look, I'm knocking stuff over now. This is all great. But hey, see what you find in your houses. This is going to be a lot of fun with the scavenger hunt. Be creative, be excited, grab your recorders, play a song. It's going to be great. How many items are on the list, Sherry Lynn?
There's 50.
Oh, wow. And are there going to be prizes?
Yes, there is. We'll be choosing random things for you guys to show us that you've collected and whatever. And some of the youth council is going to help choose the winners of some of those prizes.
That's going to be super awesome. And then afterwards, Mahak, I know there's some activities being run by the youth council that, with Annika. Annika's already had to leave to the yoga studio. You want to fill in some of the details on what's going to be going on there? I know there's a Kahoot.
I know there is definitely one of the popular items. We also have Just Dance going on. So after the yoga session, after you're done the scavenger hunt, if you want to move a bit more, definitely join us for Just Dance. I know that's one of my favorite sessions. We have some coots. We have awesome prizes from Swaggy P in the house. So definitely recommend you joining the youth council session. Also a great way to interact with the youth council and ask us if you have any questions. Even for next year, if you're thinking of joining the youth council, we'll let you know some information about what the application process is like. But overall, it's gonna be fun.
Is there going to be a recorder?
Maybe you should join us, Karthik. You can play the recorder along to the beat of the Just Dance.
Ooh.
Perfect. I'll get my
Okay.
ukulele.
This is going to be great. I need to MC with one of these. I don't know why I never thought of that. This is going to be a thing. Look what you've started, Sherry Lynn. I'm going to tell everyone this was Sherry Lynn's idea. All complaints and compliments, send them to Sherry Lynn Kaszewski, senior
Yes.
mentor. All right, Swaggy, we brought you back here, and when Swaggy P is here, that means trivia is going to be happening. So get ready to drop answers in chat to the following questions.
I hope they've
Or
had enough
big-time
sleep to be able to
prizes.
answer them. Big time prizes, not
Big time
recorders though.
prizes.
So question number 1, what time do judging interviews start at?
What time do the judging interviews start at? Mahak said the answer just a few minutes ago, and you really should know them, especially I believe it's team 1 and team 12 should really know what time judging interviews start at, because I think they're the first ones to go. So let's see the answers, and the answers are starting to come into chat. Oh, April just said she's going to ask HQ to give every MC a recorder this year. Thank you, April, for volunteering to do that.
Does she have that kind of power?
I hope so. And then every MC can stand right beside the FTA when they're playing their recorder. I think that makes the best way to do it.
Good idea.
Yeah. I'm sure James Sora would love it if I had a recorder and I stood beside him all day long.
Just picture that now.
All right, it looks like the answers are starting to flow through. The correct answer is judging starts at 8:30. That's 13 minutes from now. So everyone get ready for that. 8:30. And Paul, what's our second question?
Question number 2, what time does closing ceremony start at?
Closing ceremonies, we're going to be handing out all the prizes. Mac, what do we have? We have laptops, I hear.
We have laptops, we have monitors, we have some Amazon Echoes, Ruko sticks, First Sway, definitely one of the popular items. We have so much stuff for best solution, best pitch, and best overall, and a few other unannounced categories that we may or may not be giving out.
Ooh, unannounced categories. I like that. Is there going to be one for best recorder?
Paul, I think we might need to get some swag for that.
I have a Moleskin book. I think we can get Lisa to sign it.
Oh, well, if it's going to be autographed by Lisa Ramraj, that's a collector's item right there.
Special's the word.
Special edition.
Absolutely. Hey, closing ceremony starts at 12:15 today, folks. 12:15. So that gives you time to participate in the scavenger hunt, do some Just Dance, and then head on back for closing ceremonies, which is going to be a lot of fun. And that's where we're going to find out who our winners are. So you absolutely don't want to miss that. And what's our final trivia question?
The last one is, what are the 2 activities that are taking place before closing ceremonies, and where are they taking place?
Yeah, so the activities taking place right before closing ceremonies, so starting at 11 o'clock. So what are those 2 activities? The third unnamed activity is the recorder lessons by me.
I think you need more sleep next year.
I think this is like the wake-up call for everyone. So you remember back in the day when I used to sing closing time to close the pits? Maybe I can play closing time on a recorder.
We just found Karthik's new passion. And there's no more
We'll have to get one with First Canada on it.
Oh, absolutely. Swaggy's going to be all about that. Those will be the biggest sellers, the First Canada recorder.
Right up there with Mark Bredner's sunglasses.
Yeah, I'll wear the Mark Bredner sunglasses, and I'll wear the Lisa Ramraj blanket, and I'll have my Moleskin notebook that I'll be looking for music, and the Karthik recorder, along with a Swaggy P chip clip.
Oh, you were doing well until that last part.
So answers are coming through on chat. It looks like we got enough of them. We're going to say the answers are, there is the scavenger hunt led by Sherry Lynn, which is going to be super exciting. And of course, the youth council activities with Annika taking place in Zoom. So, hey, thank you, Paul, Sherry Lynn, Annika, who's gone already. Thank you so much for everything that you've been doing all weekend long and bringing the excitement to our entire audience. So yoga is going to be started in just about 10 minutes. Remember to go into Slack to find the Zoom login. And don't forget about the scavenger hunt and all the other activities at 11, which is going to use the same Zoom login as yoga. However, we are going to be back here at 9 a.m. for a very special discussion with Dr. Imogen Ko. She's one of the biggest worldwide advocates for ED&I in STEM, and she's such an inspirational woman. I heard her speak last year at the Girls in STEM event. It just kind of blew me away. Mahak, have you heard Dr. Ko speak?
Yes, I have, and I'm inspired by her every single time. She was at the Youth Summit this year, doing a workshop on allyship, and honestly, it was incredible. And I'm so happy we have her here today.
Yeah, it's almost going to be a certain degree a continuation of the discussion that we started with the Youth Council, but now we have one of the international experts on this, and she's going to be talking a lot about how we can be better allies and the importance of ED&I and all the things that we can do in this current world. So that's going to be great. So we'll be back here at 9 a.m. for that. But right now, head on over to Zoom, do some yoga, get ready. Good luck with all your judging interviews. Good luck with your presentations. And we wish you success. See you soon, everyone. Welcome back, everybody. We're here at the STEMathon, and we got a great segment coming. I know everyone's moving in and out of judging rooms, so we'll have people dropping in, dropping out, and that's okay. Everyone's having a great time at this event. Mahak, are you ready for this next segment?
I'm so excited.
As
Can't
am
wait.
As am I. I'd now like to welcome this morning's guest. She was the founding dean of the Faculty of Science from 2012 to 2018 and is a professor of chemistry and biology at Ryerson University in Toronto. In addition to her work as a research scientist, she is an internationally recognized as a Canadian thought leader in how to integrate principles of EDI into STEM. She has advised academia, government, and industry on best practices and approaches to improve EDI and has contributed to national dialogue about these issues through various platforms. She has received numerous awards for her advocacy of work. We are very honored to have her here today. Please welcome Dr. Imogen Coe. Oh, Dr. Coe, you're on the beach.
Okay. Yes, well, I thought you might like a picture of a beautiful beach rather than my messy office at home. So
Either would have been good, but the beach is, I think everyone's been working so hard on the STEMathon. We've all been cooped up here almost, it's been, 21 hours now, Mahak, that we've been going, that we could all use some time on a beach.
yeah, it's amazing. I think it's a beautiful weekend, so have an opportunity to get a little bit of fresh air if you can. Step outside and take a look at the sky. It looks like this. Looks like this.
Of course it does.
So, Dr. Coe, first of all, I just want to thank you for joining us today. It has been so inspiring to hear you speak at all the events in the past, and you've been a longtime supporter of FIRST. So thank you for that. And I think I just want to start off this by asking you a question about why is FIRST important to you?
Oh, I love being part of the FIRST family. I've always enjoyed coming to the weekend away, which would have been this weekend. It's a highlight of my year. I just really love the values of FIRST. I love the hands-on experience, the attention to learning a whole set of skills, but it's all framed within a set of values that are very important to me, which is the gracious professionalism, the commitment to supporting others, to helping perhaps teams that are less qualified or less experienced, and the idea of improving yourself, but at the same time giving back. So I think it's a fabulous organization, and I feel very much part of the family. So as somebody who's a biologist, not necessarily somebody who comes from the physical sciences or the computer sciences or engineering, I'm really happy to be kind of included. So love being a part of the family, love everybody that's involved. It's really very positive, and it really uplifts everybody, I think.
The key word there, I think, is definitely the family piece, because I think we really feel that at events, and I think it's the culture that Dr. Woody Flowers really wanted to create from the outset with the gracious professionalism, where you're looking out for everyone. You're not just looking out for yourself or even your teammates. It doesn't matter. We're all in this journey together, whether you're an FLL student or all the way you're a mentor who's been doing this for like almost 30 years. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
So last year, I had the opportunity to hear you speak, and many of our people in our audience did, at the Girls in First weekend at the Cambridge Institute. And I thought you touched on 3 topics that were very, very important to me, and I think it'd be great to go over them a little bit with our audience here. But you talked about mentorship, sponsorship, and champions. You want to explain these concepts to our audience and especially highlight the difference between the 3?
Yeah, I think they're all really important concepts, and I think we hear a lot about mentorship. I think we put a lot of emphasis on mentorship, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the concepts of sponsorship and championing are equally valuable. So I like to think about it as a sort of a pathway of a career, a pathway of a life that somebody is on, from a young person through to a career and a future ahead. And mentoring is very much the person ahead of you on that pathway. So I could be a mentor for somebody junior to me. I could be a mentor for a young person starting out in their career, or a university student could be a mentor to a high school student, that kind of thing. So a mentor is somebody ahead of you, maybe somebody who looks like you, maybe who's somebody who's doing something that you aspire to do, and somebody you can look at as a role model. Sponsor or sponsorship could be anybody, but sponsors are often people who have sort of power or have the ability to open a door. So if you think of that pathway, and then there's actually a doorway with a door in that pathway, a sponsor is somebody who will open that door for you. So a sponsor could be somebody who introduces you to somebody who could be a mentor, or a sponsor could be somebody who recommends you. So there's a sort of a classic saying, which is that mentors talk about you while you're in the room, sponsors talk about you when you're not in the room. And I think that's really important, because you want people recommending you. You want people, particularly with power and privilege, to be saying, oh, you should go get RT, or you should go get somebody from First Robotics, or you should, like, somebody who maybe you don't even know, but somebody who can speak up for you and about you and promote you and put you forward. So, you know, we have our tech leaders, we have people in positions of power, people who are CEOs. They may not necessarily be a mentor or a role model, but they can certainly be a sponsor, and we all need sponsors. And a champion could be anybody. So a champion could be somebody from your community, not even somebody from your professional network. A champion is just somebody who says, you know what, I believe in you. You've got this. You can do this. So a champion is somebody who's kind of behind you, pushing you up the pathway or pushing you through the door. Sponsors opening the door, and a mentor is leaning back and pulling you through the doorway. So we can all be sponsors, champions, and mentors, and we all need sponsors, champions, and mentors. So that's kind of the way I looked at it.
Yeah, I think that so often, you know, especially the first program, we always talk about mentorship, and mentorship becomes that all-encompassing term. But to see that there's different focuses and different ideas, and I think especially for the people who are called mentors in the first community, so many of us need to work on being sponsors and champions as opposed to just being mentors. And so I think that was why that was very powerful. So one thing we've been talking a lot about this weekend, especially with everything that's going on in the world, there's been more and more people wanting to become allies and wanting to figure out how they can support their community members and what they can do. You see the call to action. There's people who are moved right now. They understand change needs to happen, but they want to be an ally, but they don't know how. So what makes a good ally, and where does someone start?
So I think that's a really good point. And this is a moment in time when we really are having to pay a lot of attention to the injustices in the world and the unfairness and the inequities. And we need to be asking ourselves, what can we do to make a difference? And so we can all do something to make a difference. And the more privilege you have, the more responsibility you have to make a difference. So somebody like me, I'm white, I have tons of privilege. I have an education, you know, advanced education. So I have a big responsibility to actually figure out what I can do and actually act on it. So to be an ally means really, to start with, reflecting on yourself, your values, your beliefs, your biases. We're all biased. Your ways of thinking, and really challenge yourself to hold those things critical, be critical about those things. Being a good ally means being self-reflective. It also means educating yourself. So really learning about the lived experience. So we've all got a lot of work to do around understanding racism in Canada, understanding sexism in Canada. And that's a lot of reading, that's a lot of hard work, and that's a lot of very uncomfortable, kind of painful kinds of work that we have to do. We've done some of that around truth and reconciliation, but we have a lot more to do. And then it's figuring out actions. So I always like to say allyship is a verb. It's a doing word. You have to do something. So what is it that you can do in your community? Maybe it's just as simple and as hard as calling somebody out for making a racist joke. If you're on a team and somebody says something about who gets to do the coding, or who gets to, you know, who's good at math. We see a lot of that kind of, you know, you're Chinese, you must be good at math. No, wait a minute, that's a stereotype. Let's just call that out and talk about that. Those are little actions, and there are big actions, like people like I have to take, talking to government, talking to universities, that kind of thing. And it's a lot of listening. So that's the other thing I would say, is that we have to stop and think and reflect and make space to hear those other voices, those voices that have been silenced. So it's a lot of work. Being an ally is hard work, but it's good work. It's the right work. It's what we should all be doing.
That's some great advice. And I think maybe not everyone, but lots of people understand the importance of being an ally, but now it's about figuring out how to unlock that. And I think that
Yeah.
advice is going to be helpful in
Yeah.
that direction.
Mhm.
So yeah, you are an internationally renowned scientist, but you've taken on the advocacy of EDI as almost like this driving force, this passion project for you, especially in STEM. So
Yeah.
why is this so important to you, and why have you made this your passion?
So I think there's a sort of a misconception that if you're a scientist or you're something, that you can't also be interested in the world around you. So science takes place, science and engineering and technology, it takes place in society. So it takes place, and it's done by people. And so it's done by human beings. So it's a very human activity, and human beings are very fallible, and we're all very flawed, and we're all trying to get better all the time. So scientists, like everybody else, should be paying attention to what's going on in the world, the science that we do, the questions that we ask, the people that we see doing science is all a reflection of society. So I have always been of the opinion that this is just something that scientists should do. I was also raised with a set of really strong values around fairness and equity. And I got to see from a very early stage, I can remember from a very early age, that science wasn't fair. That sometimes girls were told, no, you don't go and do the advanced math. You'll never use that. Go do, something else. And that just never made any sense to me. It wasn't even a gender thing. It was just like, why would you arbitrarily tell people on the basis of some characteristic that has nothing to do with their ability? It's like, you're tall, you should go do this. You're short, you should go, it was just arbitrary. When we're talking about brain power and we're talking about intellect, doesn't matter, right? So I saw that from a very early age, and it just never made sense to me. And I said, that's not fair. That's just not fair. We have to stop that. We have to talk about it. And then I was willing to speak up, and I was willing to challenge and say some things that needed to be said, weren't popular, but needed to be said. So I've had these two strands: love of science, strong commitment to social justice. And to me, they're like DNA. They're just intertwined with each other, and it's just obvious. Like, I think everybody I don't know how to be any other way. I can't imagine why everybody isn't like this.
So you mentioned one thing there that really struck me. You said you were willing to say some things that people weren't willing to. So a lot of people now to talk about, they've recognized incidents where they've seen racism, they've seen sexism, but they didn't know what to do. They froze. This came up in a discussion we had yesterday.
Yes.
How did you develop that courage, and how can we advise young people to develop that sort of courage?
Right. So I think there's a couple of things there. One is that we don't teach it. We don't train people. We don't talk about it. So yeah, you freeze because you don't know what to do, because nobody's ever given you a set of skills. So I think that's something that at first is could be a real priority. We're going to equip young people with what do you do when somebody makes a sexist joke, and that's actually called bystander training. So you can do bystander training, and it helps empower you to be a better ally. I think we also have to understand that it's better to say something than nothing, and also that we're going to get it wrong. So we talk a lot about, it's interesting because we talk a lot about failure as being part of the learning process, but we don't always apply it to things like allyship or bystander training. It's like, you're going to get it wrong, you're going to say something wrong, but it's better to say something and try to disrupt an incident and learn from it, than it is to stay silent because that's complicit. So I think I was a bit clueless in that I was very worried about making mistakes and getting things wrong in other parts of my life, but I was so driven by the sense of it's just not fair, somebody has to say something, that I would just kind of do that and not worry so much about what people think. That's the other thing, is we worry a lot about what people are going to think about us. And it's true. I've seen some of my colleagues over this last week, they've said, that's it. I'm cutting ties to my family. I have a racist aunt, my grandfather said, and that's it, I'm done. So it's painful. But you have to decide, what your principles are worth and what actions you're going to take and live with. So.
Yeah, I know. That's something I've struggled with a little bit, because there's been times where, and I think young people really can relate to this, because everyone always says, oh, be careful what you say, don't post things on social media because future employers might see it, future employers might see this, and you don't want to talk about politics, you don't want to. But at a certain point, this isn't about politics anymore, and this is about basic human rights.
It's about human rights, yes. And I think another thing I think that we can really help develop are the skills around, using social media for social change. So I've seen some pretty disturbing things where people are taking snapshots, holding a sign next to a rally as it's going past, and then running back and putting it on Instagram because it's become it's something you wear as a as a fashion statement. And so social media it can be very corrupted, but social media can also be very powerful. So what is the message you're putting out? How are you constructing it? And young people can be incredibly talented at that, much more knowledgeable than people my age. So it's not necessarily the medium, it's how you use the medium.
That makes a lot of sense.
I also want to thank you for mentioning the fact about failure, because I think that's something a lot of young people, especially on social media, are afraid of, and that may be the reason that sometimes they're not able to stand up or post things that they like because they're not educated, which relates back to our theme for today, for the STEMathon. But educating yourself is extremely important. And I've never looked at the way that it's okay to fail, especially in allyship, since certain topics are very, I want to say, like strong and sort of difficult to touch on. So I appreciate that you mentioned that. But I know that you have been inspiring to everyone in the First community, especially for a lot of the members on the Youth Council, after hearing you speak at the Youth Summit and other events. Who has inspired you in your journey?
Lots of people. I'm very grateful to my parents. My dad was my first champion. And so he really supported. He didn't think there was any difference between what girls and boys could do. I think he just get on with it and do it. You can do it. And so I had a biology teacher who was also, she kind of believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And that just, that really helped sort of push me forward. I have been really inspired by some of the young people, in First that I've met along the way. And I've thought, you're so brilliant. I'm redoubling my effort to make sure that you get a chance and your voice is heard and that you get to contribute. And so it's mostly been kind of ordinary people that I've been fortunate enough to run into in my network. So I never wanted to be Marie Curie or whatever those people they hold up. It's people close by who just lifted me up and pushed me forward and said, yeah, you can do it. My graduate advisor, those were the people that inspired me.
I love that you said your father, because I think having male champions and male allies is extremely important.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's absolutely important. As Karthik said it, we're talking about a human rights issue, right? So we're talking about making sure that everybody has the ability to achieve their potential and make their contribution. And that requires all of us to pitch in and do the work and be allies to everybody.
Right. It's everyone's responsibility. This isn't.
Absolutely.
It's definitely not the responsibility of the oppressed to try and fix their own situation. It's on everyone to try and break these barriers down.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I've been asked recently by quite a number of older white men in science. I'm terrified. What can I do? I'm so, I know I'm going to say the wrong thing, so I'm not going to say anything. And I said the same thing. I said, you have responsibility. You have to do something. You've got the power. You have risen to the top. You're the tip of the iceberg. So now you have to do the work. And you're going to have to get used to the idea you're going to get it wrong, which is very difficult for them because they're so used to just having the path ahead of them. No, you're going to screw up and you're going to have to learn. And there are lots of places and people that can help you with that. So, yeah.
That's really great advice right there. So this STEMathon this weekend, our theme has been accelerate education to the future. So if you had one wish of one solution or invention that the young people of today could develop to help accelerate education into the future, what would it be?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this because it's very difficult for me to stick to one thing. I think I think I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, which is the concept of failing forward, failing fast, failure being part of the pathway to a better education, and really embracing that. I think also having that wrapped in really core values. So hanging on to core values of honesty, integrity, trust, authenticity, and really expecting those. I see so much misinformation. I see so much degradation of truth. I think we have to really have those core values of integrity, and hang on to them and promote them. And that's, those are key characteristics that we want everybody in the future to have.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've been spending a lot of time on recently is that we spend so much time teaching students, especially at the university level, about management, but we don't truly teach leadership. And when we do teach leadership, there's such a focus on the old values of leadership. Leadership is being powerful. Leadership is being strong. But it really needs to be a shift to where leadership is about being empathetic, and leadership is about getting the most out of your people, and leadership is about gracious professionalism. Absolutely. And concepts like that. So I think that really ties in there.
So I heard a great phrase recently, which is compassionate, inclusive leadership is the leadership of the future. So compassionate, inclusive leadership. I think that's what you would see in somebody, I think, like Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand. It's not about ego and power. It's about compassion and inclusivity, and making decisions, sometimes hard decisions, but they're not mutually exclusive. So, yeah.
No, I really believe if that type of leadership or that type of education was taught at a younger age, a lot of the issues that are happening right now around the world wouldn't be as present, because students and everyone in their world would be able to educate themselves a lot more. So I think another question that we have is, do you have any advice for any of the students that are participating today at the STEMathon?
Well, talk to each other. I would say make sure you do educate yourself about these issues. Technology changes and moves fast and will be different, but those core values of integrity and compassionate, inclusive leadership will stick around. I would say also get involved in what's going on in society. I think it's really important that we have people with technical skills, with scientific skills, be involved in society and making decisions. I think if we had more of that, we would see a bit less of the mess that we're making. So vote, get out and vote, get out and be involved in your communities, get out and be involved in finding out what your policymakers are doing, what your councillors are doing. Go and find out who they are, and take the skills that you're learning, from FIRST, out with you, because really, honestly, those people are looking for the kinds of people that have those kinds of technical, insightful, analytical kinds of skills. And we need a lot more of those kinds of people in policy making. So get involved in the community, beyond just the FIRST, the STEM, the science.
That's absolutely true. Because facts matter and data matters, and we have people who are totally understanding this now in our programs and in STEM, but we need them to run for office when you're ready. And if you think you're not ready, maybe you are. Believe in yourself. So many people say, oh, I could never do that, but yes, you can. And you see it in, like, I know Mahak's been on a roundtable recently with one of the ministers who's like incredibly young, and you can do this at a young age.
That's right. And if you're not interested in that, at least find out what the plans and policies and attitudes are of those people that are making decisions about your life in the future, and make your decisions when it comes to voting on the basis of what those people are promoting. I was, one of the last things I got to do before we went into lockdown was I went up to Ottawa and met with a bunch of ministers, and people, not ministers, people in different political parties, to talk about science. And, there's almost nobody in Parliament in Ottawa with a science background. I think there's one or two engineers, there's maybe one or two medical doctors. And so all the people making decisions about things like public health, about, our future innovation, our future industry, are people who are coming from very different backgrounds to the ones that all of you and we have. So find out what people are going to be promoting in your your local governance system. Vote for the people who are science-based and evidence-based and who know that facts matter, and get involved and support them and run for office. We need a woman from a minority, from a racialized background, who is a scientist and has a PhD and is an engineer to be the next prime minister.
And that person could be in our community. It could be Mahak right here.
Absolutely. I'm looking at her right now. There she is.
I'd vote for that right away. I'd be campaigning, putting up signs, doing all of it.
Yeah, me too.
So one thing, Dr. Coe, is you are a professor at Ryerson University, and we're going through this pandemic right now, and so many of our students are graduating and they be going on to university in the fall, and some of them will be going to Ryerson. And do you have any advice for them on how to adapt to this, what it's going to be like in the fall semester with online classes and all of that?
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge for everybody. It's going to be a challenge for me. I'm teaching 2 upper level courses in life sciences. It's going to be different. Everybody's trying to figure it out. So I think it's really important to be sensitive and compassionate with yourself as a student, with your professors, with whoever's doing the teaching, because they're struggling too. And understand that this is just a tiny little fraction of your entire career. So yeah, it's weird, it's difficult, it's going to feel overwhelming, it's going to feel very unsatisfying, it's going to feel unfair, but we will all get through it. And you will learn things about yourself, and you will learn things about, you will learn lots of things unexpectedly. That we can't even predict now, that I think you can kind of absorb and think, well, what did I learn from this? What did this teach me? So it's going to be challenging. Stay in touch with your champions, stay in touch with your network so that you have all the support. Professors typically want to hear from students to how they're doing. And I will say, anybody who's going to Ryerson, I don't care what program you're in, I don't care what faculty you're in, if you have a question and you're not getting an answer, you're always free to come to me as part of the first family, and I will do anything I can help as well. So, we're resilience. That's one of the things that we teach: resilience and persistence and grit, and compassion. I think we'll get through it. It's going to be weird, but we'll get through it.
I really do want to urge our students who are watching who are going to Ryerson. That's an amazing opportunity when you have someone like Dr. Coe available to you to extend that. So thank you for doing that for the first family. And so reach out, and this weekend you've met so many people through this event, the various mentors you've met from industry. Your connection with them doesn't end when this event ends. Contact them afterwards. See if you have any advice, want to figure stuff out, they will be there for you. That's what we do in this community. So thank you so much for your time, Dr. Coe. Thank you for joining us here today. It's so great. I wish we could have done this in person again at the Cambridge Institute, but we will do something like this in person soon. You will always be invited. That's for sure.
Thank you. Please keep inviting me, because it means a lot to me. It really does. So.
And I can't wait till we're back at some point at an event at Ryerson University, because that's one of the highlights of the season for everyone. So thank you. I know I learn something every time I hear you speak. Mahak, we've talked about this before.
I definitely do. It's so inspiring to hear you speak, and especially from this conversation, just in the last 30 minutes, I've been able to learn a lot more in different ways different things that I can implement into my lifestyle to make significant changes around the world.
Well, I'm happy to carry on the conversation. I think you've got my contact information, so people can find me on the internet, on social media. So, I'm part of the network, so keep conversation going.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dr. Coe. So to our audience, we will be back at 12:15 for our closing ceremonies. But don't forget, we have the scavenger hunt going on at 11 a.m. Check the details in Slack for how to log into that. And good luck with the rest of your judging interviews. Get ready, and we're going to be giving away a lot of prizes at 12:15. So we will see you then. Everyone, have a good time. Keep working, and I wish you success.
Okay. Bye.